Hi, everybody. Welcome to Grab Your Keys. I am super happy to have a peer of mine through the Provisors Network. And we have gotten to know each other over the last year. And she was so nice to say that she would be on our Grab Your Keys podcast. So Valerie Brauckman is here, and she is in agnostic technology. Valerie, what is agnostic technology?
First of all, thank you, Sue. It was very nice to be invited. I
So
was
happy to have you.
very excited about it. So when I used to work for AT&T and Verizon, I would go talk to clients, and I was always telling them why they had to buy AT&T and why they had to buy Verizon. It was always often trying to put a square peg in a round hole. But now, as an independent agnostic technology broker, I have 250 service providers in my portfolio, and I can go into a client and truly dig in, do discovery, understand what their challenges are, what business processes they want to improve, and then go back to our engineers and my portfolio and only bring those that really fit the bill to the table.
So what is your perfect client? Let's say, are you working with commercial? Are you working with industrial? Like, what is your perfect client that would be the best situation for you where you can help them the most?
Most clients that have multiple sites have a hard time getting their arms around what's going on in those multiple sites, because there's usually only one tech director, and that person resides at one spot. So a larger organization that has multiple locations. We do a lot of work in healthcare because of the compliances, and we can bring the right compliance. We actually have a tool that will go down all of our providers and say, nope, that's not HIPAA compliant. Nope, that's not PCI compliant, or yes, it is. So again, we take all of that effort that used to take our clients hours and hours, weeks. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny. The universe made sure that you were on my podcast today because we literally, our main headquarters is in Detroit. And we have had a problem with our Wi-Fi now for a week. Now I'm hardwired into the internet, but the Wi-Fi on our phones is not working. And we have tried, and I just said to the head of technology yesterday, for the amount of effort and hours and manpower that we have spent for 2 weeks on this, including myself, and I'm not a tech person at all, to try to figure out what is wrong having Verizon out of here. Verizon saying it's not us, then back and forth, finger pointing everywhere, for the amount of time, energy, and amount of money that we're paying. We could have hired you, and you could have probably figured it out lickety split and helped us with that, or sent somebody else out to help us with it.
Absolutely. We don't just help in the beginning. We have an entire back office of 12 employees that do project management, that have a help desk. So you call them, and then they figure it out. You don't have to waste your time. And
that's amazing. So what do you feel? You're very successful. What do you feel your 3 keys to success have been?
Well, I love that question. So luckily, I like to learn. So in technology, with everything changing so quickly, it's a good trait to have because it changes so quickly. I mean, you could learn about a new product or service or an AI feature that is just released out of the box, and in 2 weeks, there's another one on top of it that might be better. So you have to keep understanding all these technologies and the nuances of them, and where they fit and where they don't fit. Totally. So I would say that would be, for me, in the technology industry, and really, I think it applies to any industry, to understand it and learn about what's happening.
And I feel like when you decide that you know enough, that's when you ultimately hurt yourself in business, because everything in this world, especially in the world you're in with technology and AI and all that crazy stuff that's going on, I can only imagine if you decided, oh yeah, I'm not going to any more seminars, I'm not following up, I'm not reading, I'm not listening to the podcast, then you're stunted by yourself.
That's right. And you're not giving your best self to your customers.
No, you're right.
And you can't know everything. So that's why we also have solution architects that are available to us. And we have certain tools, as I mentioned before, that you can put in information and it will spit out some important information that you might want to share with a client or a direction that you want to go in. So
yeah, absolutely.
That would be number 2. And my very favorite.
Okay, so what would you say number 2 is? Number 2 is architect technology. What's number 2? So the number one is learning. The number 2 one is what?
I would say that I have a passion for helping my clients.
Passion for helping clients. Yeah. I think that is so key, and having the clients that you like. So because then you have a passion for helping them. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I do not want to, because I mean, this is a relationship that remains for years. I mean, a lot of these contracts are 3-year terms, 5-year terms. So I'm always with them. And to ever get feedback that, oh, this isn't working for us, and it was a bad decision. And it really, other than maybe early on in my career, especially when cloud-based technologies were fresh, we would have some of that. But I never want to hear that from a client. So you've got to have that passion to do the right thing, even if it's 9 o'clock at night and everybody else is watching
the football game. No.
Right. You got to stay there and do it. And when I was first starting my business, I spent many hours doing what I needed to do to help my clients.
So your most favorite of the keys is what?
Learn to love Mondays.
Learn to love Mondays. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, when I was working for these corporations, I'd get a paycheck. So Monday doesn't matter, Thursday, it's all the same. To me now, when it's just based on my production is how I get paid, like Monday's coming, I get to make money this week. So
yeah, I have not thought of it that way. I mean, I've always loved Mondays, but at times I have not loved Mondays, and then the week drags. So when you learn to love Mondays, and I always thought, like, how crappy is it that people are like, oh, I got to go to work tomorrow? Like, that's crappy. Like, wouldn't want to live my life like that. So, and by having the education and the learning and the passion, you then learn to love Mondays, and it becomes a career, not a job.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes with, new generations, people graduating from college and starting in the work field, they don't realize that they're not going to school anymore from 9 to 5 or from, in and out of classes of college, that this is actually, they're building on a career for their future, and, to suck as much in as you possibly can, because this is a stepping stone, of what else you can do and how much you can learn.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, for me, it was a world of difference from coming out of college, working for someone, and then working on your own as an entrepreneur. It just was so eye-opening. I thought that I was a good employee, but it all changes when you're an entrepreneur.
For sure. What's one challenge that you faced that's really shaped who you are today in your business or personal?
Well, probably when I started my business, I had just gotten a RIF when you get let go from AT&T.
Right.
They were letting all the local services folks go, and I was the global business development manager. And I got my paperwork, and I got extra money because I was considered old, and I was in my early 40s. I think I was just turned 40. So, I mean, I appreciated the money, but I was like, wow, I'm old. Anyway, it was at that point where I said, I can start my own business. I know this indirect channel and how to support clients, and I'm going to do it myself. Well, I just met my fiance. He was paying for his children to go to Episcopal, and it was very expensive. So a lot of the expenses fell on me, which was fine. But when I started my business, I decided I needed to be out of debt. I needed to be ready to go and build a network and all the things that you have to do when you start a business. But what I didn't have is a lot of support. I mean, my fiance, now my husband, he was like, "Don't you think you should get a real job?" My whole family was like,
"What are you doing?" Yeah,
I don't know about this, Val.
Are you sure?
Exactly. But I loved it when we'd always say, don't you think you should get a real job? I think that happened after I burned the lamb roast, because I had put it on to the grill outside, and I thought, I'll just run upstairs and do a little something. And then it was hours later, and I go down and I had this little crinkled black lamb roast. But none of my family had ever been entrepreneurs, so they were very fearful for me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. The other night I went to take the dinner out and I had never turned the oven on.
Never turned it on or off?
I never turned it on. Oh, so I was like, oh, I thought dinner was at 6:30, but I guess we're eating at 7:15 or 7:30 because I didn't turn the oven on. So sorry, we're going to eat in another hour.
So you still made it. They didn't have to eat cereal.
Yeah, it was just not cooked. I went and I was like, how did I not turn the oven on? Well, sure enough, I got a call and I got distracted. And, I just was like, I thought I had preheated the oven, which I hadn't. And I just popped the pan in, left, never looked again to see if it was on. And I knew in my head that dinner should be ready. It should come out of the oven. And I was like, is the oven broken? What?
Right.
It's me. It was me. I was broken. So I totally get that. And I think that that's also a woman thing, that we're trying to do too many things at once sometimes. And I don't know about you, but I'm not as good of a multitasker as I think I am. So, that's taken me a lot of time to realize, stop, finish something, start on another. Multitasking and I are not friends sometimes. So how do you see your industry right now evolving?
Well, we're very much involved in artificial intelligence,
right?
Like really any industry. But I grew up on voice technology, so that's where I tend to lean. Mm-hmm. And
what does voice technology mean?
So there's data, there's networking. But voice is, picking up the phone, being able to call from a desk. And now that all the voice technology is in the cloud, you needed to have a whole nother set of skills and understanding, because it was totally different. Right. But it's basically voice.
So how does that intersect and play with AI?
Okay, so the voice is still used predominantly in contact centers, and that's most every business has some type of contact center, whether they're intaking clients like a law firm.
We're a mortgage. We intake clients. We use
so that those calls come in. You need to manage them. They might come in through a text. They might come in through WhatsApp. What's up? WhatsApp. They might come through a Facebook post. You have to have connectivity to all of those channels, what we call omni-channel, so that your clients can use whatever methods work best for them.
Right.
Voice is still predominant, but text is on the heels of voice. And so you can use AI to train, to provide scripts, to evaluate your agents or the folks that are doing the intake or interacting with your clients. A credit department might interact with a client, customer service.
Right.
So in the old days, a manager would have to listen to hundreds of calls to evaluate the performance and rate their employees. Now AI does it. You get a report, you get your high score, your low score, you just listen to the ones that you've taught through conversational AI, what makes a good call and what doesn't. So all that work is done for you through AI.
Wow.
The same law firm in Chicago happens to be a Provisors member, and the woman who was managing the intake agents was spending about 24% of her week on helping her agents. With AI, it's been reduced down to 8%.
Wow. That's
So, I mean,
amazing.
these are productivity tools, and these are tools that used to cost exorbitant amounts. Now, through technology, those costs have come down.
Yeah. So the whole industry is changing at a rapid pace. So having an expert like you to guide you through how to figure out all these different technologies really is an immeasurable amount of help and
Yes.
expertise. Yeah.
And Sue, it's free.
It's free.
I mean, for true transparency, I mean, we're a broker of technology. So like other brokers, we get paid on the back end by the service provider ultimately selected.
Right.
So our clients can come to us and ask us for any quotes. We do that. We manage all that front end and we manage the back end. And they don't have to
That's
pay.
amazing. That's amazing. What's one piece of advice you use all the time?
I have to look at my notes. So I guess
Notes is always good.
What?
Looking at notes is always good.
I know, because I spent some time on that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, that's right. I was going to give you an example. So is taking initiative.
How would you say taking initiative has changed and helped you in your career?
So I'll share with you an example. I was on the other line. This was when most of communication was voice. It was a while ago. And I saw a phone call come in from somebody that I was prospecting. And I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited. And so I got off that phone and no voicemail. So I called him. His name was Bill. I called him. I said, hey, I saw that you called me. What can I help you with? He says, oh, Val, I've got these POTS lines. They're the plain old telephone lines from Verizon. And I'm moving locations. And I need help with like 7 POTS lines. And I didn't want to ask you since you didn't place them and blah, blah, blah. I said, Bill, I'd be more than happy to. Took care of it. Didn't get paid on it. Didn't care. Didn't matter. I went on to move his company to the cloud when all his equipment was ready to be replaced. And he's like, I'm not buying new equipment. Let's utilize the cloud. And then when he moved, he went to a financial company as VP and he brought me in. And I also moved them off Google, put them on Teams, got them into the cloud, got them into Azure, and also did their contact center and moved them off of a very archaic system to happen to be Ring Central, where they're thrilled. They're able to see their productivity. They're able to get the best analytics and have compliance as well in the marketplace.
Yes, that's great. Were you saying that you move them onto Ring Central or off Ring Central?
Yeah, I moved them onto Ring Central.
Onto Ring Central, right. Okay, super. That's a lot that you did for that. And that all came from, giving that advice initially for free, paid off in the long run because you were able to help him in the future.
Right. And moving POTS lines are a big pain in the butt.
Yes.
I will say.
Yeah.
But you just can't sleep on it. You got to find out what can I do for you?
Yes, absolutely. I love that. What's if you were to mentor your younger self, what's something that you would, what advice would you share with your younger self?
Well, I don't know whether I would have the confidence to listen, but I wish someone had said to me, don't be fearful. You have what it takes. And if you don't, you'll get it along the way, and to take some more chances.
Right. To be more confident, because fear is flight, and we
Yes.
don't want to flight. We want to power through that. Yeah, I agree. And I think that as we get, older and have more experience, we're not as fearful. Yet sometimes the fear, that little fear factor, it comes in and whispers in your ear a little bit. But, as you get older, you stop listening to it because you want to just power through and help.
And I will, on that same vein, is asking questions doesn't mean you're stupid. I mean, we all know that now, but that was in my household. We when I was growing up, you didn't always get the best response when you asked a question. You often got a negative.
Right.
How could you ask that? How could you be so dumb?
Right.
But as long as you ask a question, thoughtfully listen to the answer, and incorporate it and move on, I think I wish I had gotten that piece of advice.
Yeah, and be inquisitive and not judgmental is also, even when you say, like, ask a question, don't, when a question's answered in return, don't judge. You don't know why the person's asking that question. You don't, so sometimes you have to dig a little deeper, but I totally agree with you. And what's in the future for Valerie?
Well, I'm going to continue to focus on contact center. That's going to be where my focus resides. And I think, Sue, that I already sold a big piece of my business 2 years ago. So that was a great experience. And that's why I have this great back office now. So I'd give myself maybe another 5 years until I fully retire. So I'm looking forward to that, traveling, spending time with my husband.
That will be so super great. Okay. What is your OOTD today? I see that green on. Is it for Eagles?
Yes, you'll see it says "Go Birds."
Go Birds! Yay!
So that was from the Luella
Right.
in Wayne and I think Avalon. I had it shipped to me from Avalon, and I have a stretchy theory white blouse, which is my most comfortable blouse because it's stretchy.
And a white blouse is a basic that every person needs, men or women. Everyone needs a white shirt or a white blouse. It always makes you look crisp and put together. So I absolutely love that. Well, Valerie, I have so enjoyed getting to know more about you and your company today. And we're going to have all your contact information below. And thank you so much for being so open and honest with us. I know that all of our viewers have listened and definitely got a lot out of it. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Valerie. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Grab Your Keys.